Okay, so now we're going to refine our patch. So we're going to map the output of the drawing to a defined set of pitches. We know that if we want to map, we are going to use a table or an I-table. But also, it would be really tedious to map all 128 possible note values across, say, that's 8 octaves of notes that you have to draw out or map out. What I want to do is map out a single octave, then use a little math to separate pitch class from octave and use that to just feed the table and then add the octave back in. So what we're going to do, first thing we're going to do is we're going to save our patch as a new patch. And unlock. Now let's start with the math. So what I'm going to do is I'm thinking about my scaled pitch output of 0 to 127. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat a number box up here. And then I can do two things. So let's do the part of how we get the place we are within the octave. If we're thinking chromatically, we can think about pitch class. And that is going to be a mod object. We're going to mod 12, which means we're dividing by 12 and taking the remainder. And number box. So connect it, connect that. And then if I type in 60 divided by 12, that's mod 0. But if I type in 66, it's mod 6. All right, so that's where I am within the octave. It's the same way. If I go down an octave to 54, I'm still at mod 6. 48 would be mod 0. Okay, then I can subtract this part from this part, and in a way I get it back. So, or I find the base octave. So let's do this part. New object, unlock the patch, new object, and we'll have a subtraction object. And I'm just putting 0 for an argument, but you don't really need anything. This becomes the argument. This, when I subtract the pitch class from the octave, or from the, okay, stop. When I subtract the pitch class from the input note, I end up with the base octave. In this case, octaves start on C. So type in a number box, put this in, and together. And so now, say I type in C, mod 12 is 0, the base octave is C, but if I type in 66, the mod 6, the base octave is 60. And it'll be the same wherever I am in that octave, 64, 70. So this gives you, in effect, the pitch class, where C equals 0, C sharp is 1, D is 2, B flat is 10, and the octave. So I can get these two things and separate them out. So now, let's put in an I-table. If we put in an I-table, unlock the patch, okay, and it defaults to 128 by 128. Over here in the inspector, I'm going to change that to 12 by 12. Okay, so I can see my 12 steps, and this is going to be my intervals within an octave. Let's do, we can do a blues scale. So we can start with 0, and we're going to need to repeat because our scale is not 12 steps. So we're going to get some repeated notes, but this is easier than having to figure out how many steps within an octave and change that, how many steps for our scalar chord and change that. We always have within an octave, and we're mapping the 12 steps onto some chord or scale. So I'm going to repeat C twice, and then I'm going to go up here to select the patch. I'm going to go up here to 3. I'm going to repeat it twice. Next thing is 5. If I'm thinking in C, it's C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, and B flat. You can draw or you can drag them. Doesn't really matter. And I have them. So I can send this to the table. I can send my pitch class to the table for mapping and then add it back into the octave. Because I want to control order, I'm going to add another object. So Max operates right to left. And if there's ever any confusion or you're worried about where you place the objects, there's an object called trigger, T for trigger. And it can take an input and send it to many places in order, specific order, right to left. So I'm going to send out integer numbers to 2 places. It's going to send the right outlet first, and then the left outlet second. So this knows I'll get my index, then I'll get my bass octave. Then, if you follow a path, what I'm going to do is connect an addition box, and this time I'm just going to leave the argument blank because there's always going to be an argument from the table. So I'm outputting the table as my mapped interval value and adding it to my bass octave. Okay. And let's add a number box. So if I've got a blues scale starting on C, 60, 63, 65, 66, 67, and 70, no matter what I type in, it's going to get mapped. Let's say 64, which is not on the table, but 64, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 maps to a value of 5. That gets added to my bass octave and ends up being 65. And I can make this a little clearer. Not doing that. Make it a little clearer by moving these 2 boxes down and putting a number box so you can always see the output of the table before it gets added in. All right. So again, 62 will get mapped in. All right, so notes are going to get mapped onto the blues scale. It's important to sort of track the order. So the first thing that happens is the number here is output to the mod 12. That gives me the remainder when dividing by 12. It is sent to 2 places. First, it's sent to the table, and the way order works is that the whole tree executes before it goes to the next output. So this output goes to the table, gives me a value at that index, becomes the argument to the addition box to store. Then the second output is here so I can get the bass octave. Bass octave triggers the addition between the bass octave and whatever interval comes out of the table. And that gives me a new pitch value. So what I need to do is unlock my patch, and this is the last part of it. I'm going to take out this number box. I'm going to send my scaled pitch over here to my number. I'm doing Shift Command Y to make a segmented patch chord that's neat. I can always adjust it. And then I'm taking this output of the table added to the bass octave, and I go back into make note. And so if I go through here, now I should be able to draw in here, and you'll hear a blues scale from octave to octave. If I slow it down, you're going to hear repeated notes. And if you wanted to change duration of the make notes, you can do that here. So you can get some overlap. I'm going to put a number box. And I'm going to put it right beside make note. and then organize my patch chord. Say maybe they're going to be 500. So now you get some overlap. That might be working better if I did like a chord. So maybe I change my blues scale to, say, a minor 7th chord that has 4 notes, so divided by 12, that'll be 3 at the same location. So C, E flat, G, B flat. As we go through, I could do a whole tone scale. So just talk through C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, B flat. And anything I want. Remember that I need to save my data with my patcher. That's the default with iTable, but just always check it. And I can save this object. And I've done some mouse drawing, and I've mapped it to a pitch range. That's all we need to do. Saving the patch, saying goodbye. I will see you Monday.